Alright, hey everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day so far. Mine has gone pretty well. So let's get started. Alright, volume looks good. Okay. So, something pretty great has happened today. Unity finally released its new version. There's a whole lot of new stuff I'm really excited about, mostly having to do with 2D sprites for other projects, so nothing that we'll really use today, but there is some cool things. Probably the one that will affect us the most right now is there's a new .NET version you can use, which if you don't know, it's basically the built-in classes that C# has available, and there were a lot that you couldn't use because Unity is like, well, you can see it's over a whole major version obsolete. I think it's at least 3 years. 3 years old at this point. So I've gone ahead and upgraded to the experimental, and it hasn't really caused any problems so far. So I guess I'll just prove it right here. So let's see, the game loads as normal, and we can choose and move around, so perfect. Another interesting thing they added is this asset bundle viewer, and if you remember before, there was no way to really know what was inside your asset bundles. You had to just kind of remember what you assigned, or look in the actual asset bundle file, or go through all of your classes and see which asset bundle they're assigned to. Let's see here. Well, that actually says none. Where is it? Yeah, here. It's in the test content asset bundle, so you'd have to go look around for every object that you assign to one. But now, using this asset bundle viewer, it will list ones that you've manually assigned, and then other objects that are included because they're needed for these other prefabs. And it even tells you how large the prefab will be, which is pretty cool. You can see that basically 99% of all of our prefabs is this test hexagon model, which is kind of funny. And even lets you build from here, so we don't need to have that other let's see, we have this build asset bundles command, which we can actually delete now, I think. Stuff here, pretty cool. I don't know if, maybe it already has this compression, I'm not sure. Maybe we should go ahead and export this just to make sure everything works. Okay, so we don't want to do that automatically because we actually need to move it to a mod folder, so browse. So we have this asset bundles folder, so we'll just use that. Okay, so we'll do the standard compression. Okay, so I'll just leave everything default for now. Let it do its job. Hopefully now it'll actually give us a pop-out when it's done. That was kind of annoying, that our old way we never really knew when it was finished. Okay, so I guess it's still working. Let's see. That's just wrong. That's interesting. I wonder what that error came from. Yeah, it's giving me the same thing again. Okay, so apparently it's a little buggy. I wonder if it will let us use our old command to build. Okay, everything works fine there. Oh, well, it's still thinking. Or did it give us the error again? I think it did. Okay, so maybe that's the new C# version. It is experimental after all. Okay, so now we're gonna have to restart the client, but we should make sure before we go changing all kinds of things that might be the reason that it's having a problem. In the meantime, while that's restarting, I think, so yesterday we went ahead and imported monster statistics, but then I remembered that we don't actually move the statistics from the, from the monster prefab to the actual monster, which we want to be sure to do. So where would we do that? I guess that would actually happen in the save file. Okay, so yeah, in the actual game, that would happen in the save file. But for now, do we want to just have it copy the statistics directly from... Okay, well I guess that's how we do a new game. Is Unity still not starting up yet? Okay, well let me bring that back up. I guess, I tried it earlier and it would just automatically restart the client, but I guess the new asset bundle still has a few kinks in it. Alright, so it's loading again now, so let's go ahead back here. Okay, so we need the save file class, save monster. So we'll definitely need to store the statistics here. Okay, I guess we'll reload. Okay, so we'll come back to this. Now that Unity is loaded back again, we can try this build. Okay, first let's make sure it works the old way because we know that used to work before the update. Okay. Oh, I think I know what the problem is. Okay, yeah, this is something kind of weird. We can reload. It's just because, yeah, I just have to make sure I wrap this in a debug, because this check for errors doesn't exist if it's not debug, I think. If that makes sense. And this tag just means that this code will only run if we're in debug mode, generally. Okay, add component. Okay, yeah. Now I wonder... I don't know if this is worth it to try and have to worry about this debug tag all the time. But I went with it when I wrote this stuff. Oh yeah, so I can actually put it around the whole method. So basically now this method won't even exist if we're not in debug mode. So let's try it again. I guess we can switch back to the experimental C#, but let's make sure this works. Okay, so yeah, no problems anymore. And now, where's the build? So I guess I close that window. So now if I use this, okay, we don't want, well, maybe it would be a good idea to have this a separate folder for standalone windows. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, and it looks like it worked. So now we'll just go navigate there and see standalone windows. Okay, and it has all of our content. Okay, so now we can delete this. We can actually copy, or actually just copy this, I think. What's the wrong thing? Assets. Streaming assets, mods, test content, and then we just copy, oops. Oh, okay, I was wondering why didn't it overwrite these files, but that's Unity's meta file, so we'll see that'll be changed in just momentarily. Okay, so let's move this back over here, and now I'll make sure the game runs. Alright, and so everything's still loaded correctly, so no problems. Alright, so I guess I'll go ahead and reload the experimental C#, because I want to update to it as soon as possible, I think, so that we can make sure the game will run in newer versions of Unity. Right now it starts back up perfectly. So we'll try it again. And everything's okay. Alright, great. Okay, so now back to the monster statistics. Such trouble saying that word. Should just stick to stats, I think. Alright, so we don't need this anymore. Okay, so the only problem with this is that if we load everything from the save file, then any changes we make to the monster prototype won't automatically be updated in our game, because it will be reading from the save file instead. Although reading from the save file is what we'll want to do in the final game, so I'm a little conflicted. Also, I mean, you could say we could just not load from a save file, but then I think it would not create the monsters on the map. Okay, maybe the thing to do would be just to, if we don't load from a save file, it will just place those two monsters there as if that's what happened from the team build phase. So I guess that's what I'll do. I'll just have a little test class that will do that. Okay, so I need a save. I don't need anything in there for now. I need to create a save stat class, I think. Or can I just use this one? Yeah, actually, I can just use the statistic itself because it's serializable. Okay, so... Oh, except the statistic doesn't have the name with it. Yeah, so we'll need to... Okay, so... I guess I'll just call it a save statistic. Did I spell that right? I think so. I also saw that in Unity there's a way that you can have it add this to the beginning of namespaces, but I think it would still have that dot scripts, which is a little unfortunate. There's probably some way I could rearrange the folders to make it all work correctly, but I don't know. Okay, so we have an array of save statistics. And here we'll just have public string name and public float value. Just in case we end up having more than one value like I talked about yesterday. And we use the names instead of indexes in the save file because the order of the statistics might change depending on newer versions of the mod. So we want to try and use names so it'll stay synchronized. Alright, so I think that's fine. Okay, so the save file writer needs to write those statistics. Okay, so we need to go to the save file compiler, okay, which is right here. Okay, so it just copies directly from the start monsters, which makes sense. Okay, this is a little funny because it's circular. That's because this log would be created during the team build phase, which is why we need to have our kind of fake team build phase. Okay. So then one way to do it would just be to go ahead and create a team build controller that will basically just create everything and then go directly to the play controller. Is that what I want to do? Probably smartest. Okay, so this will be the team build sub controller. And I'm gonna copy how I did the play controller here. Don't need all this. Alright, this song is a bit much for me right now. Okay, so I guess the smart thing to do would be to make another class that we'll just call setup default team or something. Testing default creator. That'll kind of work how we did it before. Probably should have kept that class around now that I think about it. Maybe, no, it's not there anymore. Okay, so we'll have the team build sub controller. Why does that not show up? Oh. I forgot to change the name when I copied and pasted. Okay, so basically what we want to do is we need to get the battle controller, get components. Oops. And then the battle log. And then we just need to fill this correctly. Okay, so I think the easiest way to do it would be, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. We can create either the battle or the battle log and then kind of translate it over. And just in case this is the first time to see this, the battle basically keeps the current state of the battle, while the log is kind of like instructions on how to get from the beginning of the battle to the current state. And we have to keep track of that because that's basically how the save file works. And so it needs to know the beginning of the battle. So I think that's how I'll do it. Okay, so let's see. Back in the map generation phase, it does set up some things for us. Is this it? Okay, so that just reads it. Field, no, that creates the map. Okay, this I guess. Oh yeah, so this creates the battle from the save file. So we can see what it already has set up. So if the file, okay, so if the file does not equal null, then we know that we won't even go into the team build scene. So don't need to worry about any of this code. So basically, if there's no file, then it creates, so it sets up the players for us. So that means we need to create the monsters and figure out the teams, and then of course every player should be alive at the beginning. Okay, so let's see. I'm just gonna copy the data excuse me, from the oh gosh, I got a cough. So Sorry, my allergies are bad today. Alright, so what I was trying to say is that I'm going to copy the data that we use in our current save file to load the game, which is test save player 0. So let's show an, oops, I didn't want to open, show an explorer. And then I'll open this in Notepad. Alright, so this is what I wanted to look at, mostly because I want to see what the position of these monsters are. Okay, so let's see. Log monsters equals new. So we know there's 2. And the first one. Okay, so what data do we need to create? So it'll obviously be alive right now. And then position equals 13. Oops. Let's move this over. And then the prototype name is gold. Is it lowercase though or uppercase? I wonder if it matters. These should really be upper invariant, I think. I'll go ahead and change that. So, where else? I guess that's all how it works. And then, so the other thing is statistics, which we'll copy from the prototype. And then log start monsters 1. Just do the same thing. So live is true. Let's see what position. 19. And the prototype is silver. Oops. I can't type a comment today apparently. Okay, so now let's do the prototype. So for each monster... Oh, I'm doing this all wrong. M equals 0 and less than the length. Okay, so save monster. Start monsters M. Okay, and then we'll want the monster prototype. So for that we'll need to get the game data. Okay, and this equals database monster prototypes. Okay, so we don't know. Yeah, because this gives us the index, so does the database store the prototype names at any point? I think it is stored, isn't it? Yeah, the name right here. Set at here. Oh, I actually do the 2 lower invariant. I wonder why I switched. Do we use lower invariant other places? I know I use upper invariant in other places. I'm not sure why I decided lower. Like I do use upper for the stat names. Maybe I should look. So I'll just do this and Find all references. Okay, this is all what's Moon Sharp. Okay, so I only use it here, which is trying to get the block prototype. Yeah, so I'll just stick to upper invariant. So I think it looks better. So this should be empty now, actually. Okay, I don't need this anymore. Alright, so yeah, that's what I was going to do, make sure this name is set correctly. Okay, so I guess I just need to loop through the monster prototypes and get the one with the name. So private monster prototype, find monster prototype of name. And this is fine just to keep in this test class because I'm not sure the game will ever need to do this really. I guess I will need to during the team build phase. I mean, that's fine. Because during the actual team building code, it will basically do everything we're going to do here, except the player will be able to choose what monsters they put in their team. But anyway, this is fine for now. So for each and database. Okay, well now I need to have at least the game data outside of the constructor so this other method can access it. Monster prototypes, and then if prototype dot name equals name, proto, there we go. And then I just will return null. I won't do any error checking because it's just a testing class. Okay, and then for each stat and prototype stats, I guess we will need the index actually, so we should do for int s equals 0. Count. Okay, and then I think I'm going to also need to find the stat name for index. Okay, so for each var stat name, because I think right now database has a map that goes from name to index, so we need to go from index to name. Okay, so for each stat index, oh no, I guess it would be a pair. If pair key, or no, if pair value equals index, then we'll return the key. There's probably another way you could do this easier using link, but I think you could do database stat name map reverse. But anyway, this is fine for now. Sorry, my internet is being a little unstable today. I hope the quality is not too bad. But anyway, okay, so I guess first we need to create the stat array. So monster stat stats equals new. Oh, just listen to that song. Alright. Let's pull this up again. So prototype, stats, count. It's basically for every stat we know there'll be one entry into the array. Am I doing this correctly? Oh yeah. Except I think instead of doing stats count, I think it is equivalent, but just for what am I trying to say? For clarity, I'll do it this way. Okay, so then the stats index, what is this, S, I think. Okay, so actually we might do this a little different, because the way the monster prototype has it is it just has one entry for each stat in the game, but some of them might just be a default value. So we wouldn't want to actually put that into the save file. But I mean, this is just temporary, so maybe I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Yeah, let's not worry about it for now. It's monster stats. S equals new. Okay, and then name is find stat name. And then the value is simply prototype. Oh yeah, float value equals prototype stats s dot float value. Alright, so now we've saved that. So what's the next step? I think the monster is all complete. We need to update the players' teams. Oh, what's wrong here? Oh. Sorry, I just saw that error. Did I close the other class? So was it map generation? It was the battle data creator, I think. So here it sets up the player type, but not the teams. Alright, and here we do a bunch of error checking to make sure that there's no monster left out, which is good for loading from a file, but it doesn't really matter in our testing class, so we won't be nearly as complicated. Okay, so basically all it does here, it just copies the save file team to the battle log, which I said this before, it's kind of circular, but that's okay for now. So I think for us we can just do log start player 0 dot team equals new. Oops. Oh no, it'll have one, but it just has the first monster, and then the second player has the second monster. So I think that's all I have to do there. And then also start players 0 is now alive. Oh, we don't actually store that, do we? Not in the save file, anyway. Okay, so let's look. What else do I need to do? Player types is taken care of for us. Copy teams. Just did that. Okay, and then I just have to figure out which players are alive, which is all of them. And then here it sets up the actions, which is always empty for now. The turn number starts at 0, and the file name I could just set something. So I should not include this. Oh, actually, yeah, because this would be actually set in the lobby. So the battle, or the team building phase, won't set this value. Okay, so what am I trying to do here? Where was I? Testing default script. Sorry, my mind went blank. Anyway, so all I need to do is just clear the log, or clear the actions, which I think is already done, but just to be safe. And now we just need to update the battle. So basically we just need to copy the monsters and the teams over. So maybe we could just do that here. Oh no, let's make another loop just to be clearer. Alright, and then maybe just copy this code here for each save monster and file monster, so it'll be a little different, but alright, so for so I guess I can't just say for each var save monster. That's not how you spell it. In log start monsters. Okay, so the prototype index. So basically we kind of this is a little... Okay, so it's basically the same as this, except instead of returning the name, we return the index. Maybe I should just do that in the first place. So for int p equals 0, p less database monster prototypes count. And then if database monster prototypes p dot name, then we'll return p, otherwise we'll return null, or -1 actually. So now we can just say monster prototypes. That works. What's it complaining about? Oh, right. Slightly different name. Is that all? Oh, and also the stats, of course. So I guess I should go ahead and update the team. Yeah, the battle data creator to do statistics while I'm here. So save stat and save monster.stats. Okay, so this is easy because this gives us a stat name and we already have a map of name to index. So int index equals database stat name map. Okay, I guess I need to make sure that it's actually contained in there. So something like this would be better. Try get value, and how this works is it returns true if it's able to find an entry for this name and it inserts the value into this variable. And then if it doesn't happen, then we'll want to throw an error. No stat called. You can be more helpful with these exception names at some later point. Alright, so if we find an index for it, then we just add that stat to the monster. Oh. And we can use our handy safe set function because we want to set this statistic into a specific index. Oh, we should use the from float. Okay, and now I think I can copy this and use it almost exactly the same in here, except I won't worry about exceptions. Actually, I don't even want to use this try get value because I want it to throw an error if it can't find anything. Alright. Okay, so I think we're all good there. Now I need to add these teams to the battle. So battle players, 0, team, add range, log start players, 0, team. So this basically just copies this array into this list. And I'll do the same thing here. And then I need to make sure that both players are alive at the beginning of the game. And I think that's everything. Alright, so now the... Okay, so actually don't... The game doesn't save these yet, I think. Or no, it does because, as I found out before... Where is it? Save file... That's a loader. Save file data gatherer just copies everything from the log, doesn't it? Oh, this is the wrong thing. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. Yeah, so it just copies everything from the log, so if the log is set up correctly, then this will be. Okay. So now on the team build subcontroller, I just need to create this class. And then on basically the next frame, we'll just go ahead and set the new controller. Play subcontroller. Is that gonna cause a problem? Okay. So how do I want to do this? The reason I have it working like this is because the team build phase is basically going to happen on top of the map. So I want to have a smooth transition. So I don't want to like dispose everything. So I can't just use one controller, I have to use like sub-controllers, if that makes sense. I guess I could just use set like normal. How does the game handle controller changes? Okay, so it does enter and exit. Okay, which I do here as well. Okay, don't need these anymore. Where was I? Map controller. Okay, and so I should actually just use this. But I don't really want to set it right here. Subcontroller. So something should actually pass the subcontroller that it wants me to start with. Or should it? Actually, no, I don't think so. I think that the map controller will figure out what it wants to do. Basically, needs to know if a save file is loaded. So how can we tell if a save file loaded or not? Well, I guess if we got through the map generation phase, then a save file had to have been loaded if we wanted it to load. Let's see. Okay, so save file. Maybe it's in the flow controller. Oh right, so if the lobby parameters has no save file, then that means we can trust that obviously one wasn't specified. Alright, so that's how we'll do it. So if string is null or empty, get component lobby parameters, save file. Then we want to load the team building phase, otherwise we'll go to the play controller. Actually, I think, well, I don't know how we'll do it, but probably in the final game, before we just go straight into the play controller, there might be some final screen that shows like the status of all of monsters. That probably wouldn't be in the team controller anyway. This. Okay, so I don't want that. I want the team build. Really don't need to use this actually. Okay, yeah, this is a little hacky, but this message just makes sure that the map is created in Unity. So I'll leave that for now. And this is for testing, we don't need that anymore. Okay. So the team build subcontroller can go ahead and move on to the next subcontroller. Or should the map controller have, well, probably in the final game the map controller should really have control over when the subcontroller changes. Kind of like how we do flow managers, but for now I'll just keep it simple. Alright, so where was it? Team build. Where'd it go? Right here. Okay, so yeah, on the very next frame it will just go ahead and move to here, and then we'll dispose of ourselves. Okay. So first let's make sure everything works. I think it might throw an error because we don't have any statistics in the save file right now. Which is by design, of course. Yeah. Okay, that's because the stats is null. So yeah, we should test that actually. If save monster stats does not equal null. Okay, so now it'll load through. And of course, the monsters won't have any stats right now. That's okay though. Is there an error? No, it's just recompiling, I guess. Alright, so now everything's working, looks like. Maybe not. What happened here? Server, play phase none. Oh, we got a timeout. Why did that happen? How in the world? I don't know how anything I changed could have affected that. Okay, so we submitted the choices. Okay, so this actually happened quite a bit afterwards. The server sent the ready check back, but the game didn't do anything. Okay. Okay, so let's retrace or trace the game code and see what happens. I did test this right before we did these changes, so... Well, let's make sure there's nothing weird in the game data that can explain it. What type is gold, silver... Models look fine. Okay, and then the log. Okay, that's all correct. Monsters. Okay, so that's all right. Okay, so no stats, but that shouldn't matter. Okay, so yeah, everything looks okay. But for some reason, it doesn't want to move. It sends the server sends the ready check back, but the game doesn't do anything. Alright, so let's look. So here and play, where would it be? The choice finalizer. Okay, well that sends it. It actually is just a ready check, isn't it? Where is it? Common. Here, coming ready check manager. So I wonder if the game actually... Okay, now this sends ready checks. Does it receive them? Okay, yeah, it does receive already. So let's print out something here. Debug, log. So ready check received, and the type is just get ready check type. Let's see what we get now. That way we can see if the client is responding or if some bug happens afterwards. I'm pretty sure that some bug does not happen afterwards because we can see that the client never changes play phases. Yeah, as I thought. I don't know what I did could change anything. Choose actions. Okay, and the client is even sending ready checks. But for some reason it won't receive any. Okay, so let's go one more step up. And see here if we get this message. Oh, excuse me. Alright, narrowly muted that one. Okay, so let's see. Ready check received. I guess I'll do another message here to so we know if ready check is accepted or not. Okay, let's see if we get that. If we don't get any of these, then I feel like something probably overwrote our ready check handler. Okay, so pretty sure something must have overrun. Not sure what I did actually caused this problem, but so I just play controller. Is it because this is never activated, maybe? Okay, so one thing I can do here, because let's just say, okay, well we should maybe go straight to the source. Right, so debug log client handler registered for message code. Then I'll do another one that's unregistered and we can see the order of operations here. Alright, so let's see here. Client unregistered error, timeout, ready check. Yeah, so we can see it registered at first and then unregistered. Why is that order? Let's actually put the frame. So that is our problem because basically the game is unregistering our callbacks to this, which is making the client not respond to the server. Okay, so it all happens on the same frame. Does it give me a good call stack? Set controller. Map generation controller. Load next scene. This happens on the map controller constructor. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I know the reason now. It's because this enter on the subcontroller is called right here, but enter on the map controller has not been called by this point. So we have two ways. Either we wait to create the subcontroller until enter is called, which I guess works since we're going to be the ones to take care of it. The other way would be we just don't call this enter unless we're sure the map controller has been initialized. I wonder. Let's do it the second way just to be safe. Private bool. Actually, that's the autocontroller. Have an active. If. I guess I can just go look. So public bool is active. And basically it return game controller equals this. So here we'd only call this enter if we're active. I guess we probably shouldn't call exit either, although that shouldn't ever happen. So there's some potential for bugs here, but I think we'll be okay. Let's look at the map gen and just make sure that it calls it correctly. So load next scene. Yeah, load something and then disposes, so that's correct. And this is one we're interested in specifically. Alright, so let's see if we have the same problem. Yeah, this kind of thing is a pain to deal with, which is tried to, when I took my break, so that make these issues resolved automatically, but as you can see, I had to complicate things with the subcontroller. Maybe that wasn't the best idea, I don't know. But yeah, now everything is fine. Probably let's replay it again so I can just look at those debug messages real quick. So handler registered. Yeah, so that's okay. And then unregistered there. Alright. Okay, what's this? Ooh, fancy. Oh yeah, this is another new thing in the new C#. These null operators. So basically, this code will only run if server connection is not null. That's pretty useful. That was actually, I'm surprised I forgot about it, because that's one of the things I was most excited about. But I guess I shouldn't use it too much in case I have to switch back to the old version. Hi Chai Tea. Chai Tea. Thanks for stopping by. Alright, so now that we fix those bugs, I guess I'll clean up some of the other debug messages I left myself. Sure, there's not a whole lot to show right now because we're still pretty early, but I can show you what I've done so far. I've mostly been working on behind the scenes things, getting the multiplayer to work. But you can see, so this is one monster, and I can click here and have it move. And so I know, very impressive, but I'm pretty proud of it because it works with multiplayer and modding so far. So, and right now we actually just started working on some actual content, so I'm pretty excited about that. I know, I really need to get some better graphics. Maybe that'll be the next project. Thanks, Chai. Thanks. Alright, so trying to remember what I was doing before that bug sidetracked me. Okay, yeah, I wanted to test that the game ran with the save file and everything still is fine. So now if we take away the save file from our test parameters, the game should load that default state I created. And the only way we'd know different is that the monsters would have stats, which they do. Alright. So let's look, save log. Okay, I need to make, while I'm thinking about it, the save statistic should be serializable so it can actually be saved. Okay, let's try that one more time then. Alright, so now in the save log, yeah, we can see the stats. It has the name and the value, so everything matches up. Let's just make sure we can move. Alright. Okay, so now, oh, I should look, when I move the characters, the game should have created some new save files so I can go and see. Oh yeah, so one thing I forgot to do was give us a better file name here. Oh wait, no, this is really old because we don't even save the map like this anymore. Should actually just delete them, I think. Oh yeah, so this fresh battle is what I just created. Okay, yeah, and we can see here it has the statistics, so everything looks good. Alright, so now I think we're ready to work on selecting, which is what started this stream to do. So the first thing we have to do, so again we don't have a whole lot of time left, but I think I can put a little work into it. Okay, so we have option choice. Okay, I'm trying to find it. Turn option chooser. I should rename this, I think. Well, I need to really just do an option flow, don't I? Okay, so let's say turn choice flow manager. And option chooser, choice subphase. No, yeah, we have this option choice phase, which is a little confusing to me. I think I'll rename it to turn, or how about we just call it choice selection phase? That sounds the most makes most sense to me. And so I should rename this file as well. Okay, and then the flow manager, I'll also change this to choice selection flow manager. Maybe I should just call it selection flow manager. I don't think it matters much. I think I will just to simplify things a little bit. This part of the code I find myself getting confused a lot because it's named kind of strangely. So I want to try and keep it consistent. We've gotten some pretty intense songs today. Alright. Okay, so part of this has this trying to find it. Yeah, this actions collector. I think we might be able to move this into this flow. And kind of also the AI manager. Basically what this does is it listens for when actions have been chosen by a specific player, and then when actions have been chosen by every player, this local game controls, then we tell the game to move on to the next part of the logic. So let's, I'll copy this into the flow manager, and then we'll work from there.
Starting with green, and going to blue.
Okay, so let's change this to on selections made. How about all selections made? Okay, and yeah, this variable holds the action list. What action list though? Okay, it holds action list of all players that we control. Okay, so yeah, that's okay. Okay, and then yeah, this is waiting players and then the battle. So yeah, I think we'll keep all this. I don't need that anymore. Okay, and here, yeah, this is sent by some subclass to tell us when an action has been chosen. So basically, the AI can basically think from the very beginning. Or should the AI work once the player has made its choice? I guess it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Except that if the AI needs to hijack a player, then they'd have to go afterwards. So that might be a little easier. I'm not sure really how long AI would take to calculate its turn. So maybe it should just be able to go at any time, just in case it takes a while. Okay, so now we need to also claim the selection phase. Okay, let's close. Oh no, I don't want to close this because I'm going to merge a lot of this together. Okay, I guess I'll just put this right here. Okay, and this will be selection phase. Alright, just change that a bit. I think I'll rearrange some of this stuff. Alright, just to be a little clearer. Okay, so here, right when we enter the phase, yeah, we reset all actions. And then we look through all the players to see which ones we need to wait for. And also we should set the selection phase here. So it'd be choose monster first of all. I think I'm doing this right. I'm having second thoughts about whether the class that handles how selections are made needs to be the same as the class that handles all the waiting players. I guess it doesn't really, because the selection only pertains to the first player. Oh, I still need a flow manager. Alright. Okay, so I know I'm kind of going back and forth here, but I think, yeah, the best thing to do, yeah, is to separate it, because the selection phase is only needed for the actual player and not the AI. So the AI, so the class that takes care of sending everything to the rest of the game should be separated from it, I think. Kind of like how we have it now. So yeah. Still need the choice phase here. But yeah, not all actions. deleted the wrong thing. Okay, so basically all we'll do here is when we enter the option phase, we'll select choose monster right away. Otherwise we just go to 0. Nothing here for now. Alright, so this choice actions collector is kind of the main class for this phase. Okay, I think what's confusing me is that the order that this happens is not super defined, so it's making it difficult for me to visualize how it all works together. Because this choice phase function could be called before the turn option or before the selection flow manager. And say if a player is dead, then this code should not even run because they wouldn't make any choices. So really this choice actions collector should signal to different different classes which players should start working. So how do I want to do that?
I have a question. Why is it dungeon mans? I mean, you know, that's kind of a weird word, right?
You pose an interesting question.
I guess I can just do,
Where'd you come from?
It's one.
I can either do a message that sends one player index out at a time, or I can actually send out this list of waiting players. I wonder which would be the better thing to do. I think I'll have an individual message in case I do want to stagger when the AI player should start doing their calculations. So this is actually a message claim. Alright, so start. How should I start selecting? Yeah. Alright, so we can get rid of these spaces, it just makes it hard to read. Alright, so start selecting equals controller claim message. It has an integer argument. Play components, and we'll create a new one here. Start choice selection. So we'll add it to the waiting players, and then we can go ahead and I was gonna say we can go ahead and call this function right away, but something weird could happen, like say the AI takes less than a frame to figure out its move, then it could say it's done while we're still here, and then I guess that wouldn't really matter that much. It would just remove itself from this list right away. I guess that's okay. Okay, so yeah, what would happen? So if somebody called this player actions chosen right away, Then yeah, waiting players would just remove, so that's okay. Oh, well this could be a problem. Because if the waiting player's count goes to 0, then on actions chosen will be sent. Yeah, so yeah, that is not good. So I guess we're gonna need to iterate backwards in case something is removed from waiting players while we're working. So it's going to equal 0. So start selecting, send waiting players I. Still could have some problem if for some reason one player finishing triggers another player to finish. Then I think we would get an error here. I don't know if that would ever happen though. I mean, of course, the safest option would be to create another list. But I think I'm being overly cautious. Okay, so this turn option chooser needs a lot of work. Let me just write myself a note. Change to only run on the choose option selection phase. And then the AI manager still does need that actually. Run on start selection command, and then here as well. And yeah, this is how it should work. Is just if we exit this phase, then we know that we need to exit whatever we were doing here. Clean up. I guess I should use this thing to help me. So AI manager convert to use new start selection message. And then same thing for the selection flow manager. And then the turn option chooser should change to only handle the choose action selection phase. We'll need to make something else for the rest. Alright, but it's 9 o'clock now, so I think that's it for me for tonight. Thanks everybody for coming by and watching. We had quite a few viewers, so I'm happy about that. I'll be back tomorrow. I should be pretty much on time at 8 Eastern. And we'll start where we left off. If you did miss part of the stream and you want to catch up, I will upload it to my YouTube channel, so feel free to check it out. It's in my channel or Twitch channel description. And I hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. Have a good night. Bye bye.